So this video was supposed to come out during Black History Month, but since I am bad with deadlines, I couldn't get it out on time. But I'm still gonna upload the video since I do think it has a great message at the end, and if you want to support Black lives, there's some charities in the description below. And this last message doesn't go out to you guys, but to Paramount and Warner Brothers. This video falls under fair use. I know that there's a lot of cartoons in there that aren't public domain, but this video is a review and a commentary of those shorts. Hittn the Trail to Hallelujah Land is the least offensive short in the Censored 11 list.
I'll save Uncle Tom.
Okay, let me explain.
What's up, Doc?
I have a nephew. His name is Cody, and one of his favorite activities is watching Looney Tunes cartoons from the 1920s to 1960s. And sadly, during that time, Black people were discriminated in certain media.
But that still happens to this day.
I'm getting there. Hold on. This was usually done through the use of blackface, and that art style is shown in some Looney Tunes and Merrie Melody episodes, mainly the Censored 11. 11 Looney Tunes and Merrie Melody episodes that were taken off air after the Civil Rights Movement was made. Those were taken off air mainly because of their heavy use of black stereotypes and the blackface art style. I was gonna take all the shorts on the list and rank them from most to least offensive, but that's boring, so instead I'm gonna make a video essay about what I think to be the least offensive one, that being
Hittn the Trail for Hallelujah Land.
Let's start with the art style. As I said earlier, Black people were caricatured through the use of blackface and an art style resembling that, which is usually punctuated with big and cartoonish lips, and that is used heavily in a lot of these Censored 11 shorts. And even though there were some light-skinned characters who had the art style, it was usually associated with dark skins, which brings up the topic of colorism, discrimination in the same race solely based on skin color. Now, I don't think I have the expertise to talk about colorism because I'm considered as privileged when it comes into the topic since I am light-skinned. So instead, I'll redirect you to two videos by Khadjia, Mbowe, and T1J about colorism. Links are in the description. Comparing the use of blackface and Hallelujah Land to the rest of the shorts is honestly irrelevant because the only black character in that short, Uncle Tom, has his mouth covered up with a beard. So immediately that takes away the cartoonish lips that is associated with the blackface art style. And yes, you heard me right, the black character in this short is named Uncle Tom, which brings me to my next subject, the stereotypes. Black people loving fried chicken, black people love playing craps, Africans being unhinged and living in savannas. These are stereotypes that repeat multiple times throughout these shorts. And there are a plethora of stereotypes about black women in these shorts, mainly treating them as angry, crazy, or sexually active.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman.
Referring to the Uncle Tom stereotype, the name of that came from Uncle Tom's Cabin, an anti-slavery novel starring Uncle Tom. And even though the name came from an anti-slave novel, the stereotype is described as a black person who is distastefully supportive of their white enslavers. But in the case of Hallelujah Land and even Uncle Tom's Bungalow, one of the many shorts on this list that include heavy stereotypes, they only use the name and the title of Uncle Tom, not the actual stereotype. You can see this scene where Uncle Tom is giving Fluffy a ride to the cruise ship as an interpretation of that stereotype, but I don't really see it as that. I just realized that I went throughout the whole entire video so far not explaining the plot to any of these, so this will segue into our next segment, comedy, which is a tough one, because no matter what, comedy is subjective. The thing that I find funny might be something that you don't. Some of these shorts were a laugh a minute for me. For example, Uncle Tom's Bungalow, which features a very cartoonish portrayal of a slave owner. If someone were to tell me that Simone Legree was the inspiration for Dan Backslide of the Dover Boys, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. While other shorts I either found boring because of its lack of absurdist humor, you know, the thing that Merrie Melodies and Looney Tunes is known for, or very hypocritical. Coal Black is the worst culprit of this. It features anti-black caricatures and stereotypes, but since it was made during World War II, it also features extreme pro-America sentiment. Anyways, the thing that I want to drive home is that no matter what, whether I found the short funny or not, all the jokes in all these shorts all make black people the punchline. This black man loves chicken so much that he will literally kill one on sight. This black woman is so promiscuous that she'll use kisses to get away from her murder. Hallelujah Land is the only short that doesn't do this, and I would even argue that the plot doesn't have to do with black stereotypes in the slightest. Piggy is riding a cruise ship. Uncle Tom takes Fluffy onto the cruise ship, and on his way back, he ends up in a graveyard where a bunch of spooky, scary skeletons threaten him. Piggy sees this this, and so he saves Uncle Tom, but also saves Fluffy since she is getting picked up by some sort of villain. I don't really know, but hopefully you see my point. And you probably realize that I didn't really mention much about the comedy in this short, and that's because I want you to view it for yourself. There's a link in the description to the short. Overall, these are the reasons why I think that Hittn the Trail to Hallelujah Land is the least offensive short in the Censored 11 list. So while doing this video, I came across a conclusion, that being, we should stop trying to censor things from America's past. I think Whoopi Goldberg said this best in the prologue to Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 3. That DVD had shorts that included black caricatures and stereotypes, so she came on to say this.
Now these jokes were wrong then and they are wrong today. But removing these inexcusable images and jokes from this collection would be the same as saying they never existed.
She even explained that the creators of these shorts weren't trying to degrade black people on purpose.
Unfortunately, at that time, racial and ethnic differences were caricatured in ways that may have embarrassed and even hurt people of color, women, and ethnic groups. Now, nobody intended it, but that's what happened.
And she elaborates that the studio behind these shorts even helped black people.
I also want to point out that the Looney Tunes were made by the studio that supported hiring the first black animator, Frank Braxton, and that encouraged women voice artists like June Foray to become as recognizable as their on-screen characters.
But the main thing is that if these shorts were wiped out like they previously were, then we wouldn't have seen how much we've evolved when it comes out to representation in media. Yes, we do have a couple stereotypes here and there, but if we got rid of all the shorts that made fun of not only black people, but also Japanese people and indigenous people, then we wouldn't have anything to reference on, and the media would be way worse. Alright, that's the video. Bye.